Welcome to the Subway Conversation Chat, episode 6. Well, we were off last week. There's so much to talk about. My name is Jamie Malloy, and I'm ready to get started to chat about the the Yankees and the New York Mets with my co-host, Joe Dalio. So without any further hesitation, here's Joe. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
It is going great. Definitely looking forward to getting, talking baseball again after being off a week. We were talking about this backstage. I was on a cruise last week from Miami to the Bahamas, and definitely a refreshing trip. And why I came back here to Buffalo, I still don't know because it was so beautiful down there. But even got to take part in some other sports there too. We were in Miami on last Monday night, and the Heat are like my second favorite basketball team. I'm a Knicks fan, and we just kind of talking to the people I was with. I said, "Oh, wouldn't that be funny if there was a Heat game here in Miami tonight?" And there was. However, it's playoffs, so tickets are probably ridiculous. Except they probably knew they were going to get smoked, and the ticket prices were like early season prices. So we got to take in a Miami Heat game last Monday night as well. It was definitely priceless, even though the Heat lost by about 55 points to the Cavs. It was still great to be there. I'd always dreamed of going and seeing a Heat game there, and I finally got to do that. So, but definitely looking forward to talking baseball. How about you? How's everything going on your end there?
I'm very looking forward to it. And guess what, Joe? I think it was worth going because playoff basketball is so much better than the regular season. At least they actually play basketball in the playoffs, defense and everything like that, unlike the regular season,
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the regular season too, but again, just like every other sport, the playoffs is definitely a step up, and it was just amazing, to be there. And actually, I saw history because I think in that series, the Cavs had the highest sweep margin, I guess, of any basketball team ever at the expense of the Heat. So
only to be upset in game 1 by the Pacers last night.
Which is shocking because, again, the last game before that was the game I saw. It was the 4th game of the first round, and they were up 33-8 in the middle of the first quarter and ended up literally winning. I don't think I've ever seen an NBA game where a team, whether it's regular season, playoffs especially, right? I mean, when is a playoff team ever going to beat another playoff team by 55 points? That was just crazy. That's only the second NBA game I've ever been to. I went to one Knicks game at the Garden, but other than that, this is the only one I've seen. So, history making, and again, just glad to be there.
Our Knicks stole one from Boston last night at the Garden. That was awesome.
At Boston Garden or TD Garden or whatever it's called now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was a surprise. All these first round games. I think OKC lost a game. All the top seeds lost, which doesn't usually happen in game 1. So, people watching this baseball podcast didn't know that you were going to get some extra hidden basketball information thrown in there too.
We're only going to talk about basketball and when it's playoffs, but anyway, this is a baseball show. Let's get back to that. Are you ready?
I think we should.
You want to start us off with some Mets updates?
All right. Now we got 2 weeks of information here. So bear with us here. And we're going to talk about some of the transactions first. Now we're going to go back to April 24th, which is the date that I left for my cruise. We're going to start with the no surprise department here. Brett Baty was optioned to Syracuse. He got sent down to AAA. I think we could see that coming. I mean, he was batting .204 with a home run, 4 RBIs, 19 strikeouts in 54 at bats. That's 35% of his at bats that he struck out. Now they did actually bring him up yesterday, and I think he had a pretty good game yesterday as well. So, he's one of those guys that everybody roots for. He's a great guy. You want to see him do well. I know I say this every week. And again, he's running out of chances, I think. But it seems like the Mets, the fans, they definitely want to see him do well. And find consistent success. So I'm certainly one of those fans hoping he can do that. Now, kind of exciting this week, or actually last week, one day, I think it was the 24th, one of them came back, the 25th. Another one came back, the long-awaited returns of Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil. And they're already making contributions here. Alvarez has played 8 games so far, and he's already got 7 RBIs in those 8 games. McNeil has a home run and 4 RBIs in the 8 games. So both definitely making immediate contributions, which surprises me a little bit because, it takes some time to get into the swing of things, no pun intended there. But, they did have some rehab time in minor league games at all levels. So I'm sure that helped him get back into major league shape. Now, it couldn't have happened sooner because even though Luis Torrens was holding down the fort pretty well at catcher, the backup there, Hayden Sanger, they sent him back down to Syracuse once Alvarez came back up. But the time that he played 13 games in Alvarez's absence and did not have a home run or an RBI in those 13 games. His batting average was below 200, I believe, as well. So no offense to him, but definitely great to have Alvarez back. And again, especially contributing here already with 7 RBIs in 8 games. Other potential news here, the prospect Ronnie Mauricio, that's been one of the hot prospects for several years, tore his ACL. He started a rehab assignment in St. Lucie. This was as of the 27th here. And pitcher Jose Arena was designated for assignment. He had pitched 3 innings with a 15 ERA. So he was designated for assignment, but then that assignment was determined to be Syracuse, AAA, as of May 1st. So some player moves to talk about there. Now, as far as injuries for the Mets, starting to hit them a little bit, and as would be expected here, as we've more than a month into the season. And one significant one that they had here is a pitcher that they were depending on, in the bullpen here, AJ Minter, that they had picked up during the offseason. He is done for the season. He was placed on the 10-day injury list, and then it was upgraded to the 60-day injury list as of yesterday. He had a torn left lat that he had to have surgery on, and they say he is done for the remainder of the 2025 season. Danny Young, who wasn't getting much action anyway, still placed on the 60-day IL. Elbow issue. The alarm bells go off for Tommy John at that point. Sure enough, Tommy John required, and he is gone until probably the middle of 2026. So unfortunate news there. Some guys that have already been on the IL, Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea, that were both, penciled in to be part of that starting rotation for the Mets. Both still making some progress. Montas more than Sean Manaea. Frankie Montas aiming for an early to mid-June return. Sean Manaea probably a mid to late June return. But at least there's progress being made, and at least there's, that on the horizon there. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then yesterday, Jesse Winker was placed on the 10-day IL. He has an oblique strain. So 10-day IL, hopefully that's not a major thing, and he's not gone for too long. So that's basically it as far as player moves and as far as injuries on the Mets side. Let's send it back over to you, Jamie, for what's going on with the Yankees.
Well, Joe, here's my 2-week Yankees news. So to start off, we have right pitcher Jake Cousins, the cousin of Kirk Cousins. Yeah. I always love saying that. It's a tongue twister. Anyway, but what's not a tongue twister is his right forearm strain. And on April 25th, Cousins did throw a bullpen session at Yankee Stadium and said that he is looking to return in early to mid-June, and that's a good sign. Expect to return June because the Yankees starting pitching has actually done well. It's their back end of the bullpen that hasn't been looking that good. So same thing, which leads me to my next bullpen pitcher, right-handed pitcher Clayton Beeter, right rotator impairment syndrome, otherwise known as a torn rotator cuff. He made 2 AA Somerset rehab assignments, and was then transferred to AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre on May 2nd. Expected return, May. Number 3, infielder Jazz Chisholm Jr. And he too has a right oblique strain. On May 1st, an MRI showed that a high-grade oblique strain could keep the second baseman on 4 to 6 weeks. Expected return, possibly June. Kind of pessimistic there, but telling it like it is. So let's turn over to you now, Joe, for some more Mets highlights. Joe.
All right, sounds good. And so a jazzy June return, I guess you could say, right there for Chisholm, right? Yeah, that's a little bit of a tongue twister. I got it right that time, but I don't know if I was to try it again, if it would work. But the Mets still playing well, maybe not as hot as they were, before these last couple of weeks and that big homestand that they had a couple of weeks back. But 7-6 over the past 2 weeks. Still currently 23-13 overall and 3 games up on the Phillies for first place in the National League East. Only the Dodgers and Padres have better records than the Mets at this point. Although I know a couple of teams like the Cubs and Tigers, believe it or not too far behind them. But still playing well, the Mets here. We'll go over some hitting stats here. Pete Alonso is he looks so comfortable at the plate. Some guys get their big contract and they get comfortable and settle in and don't produce like they were before. Pete Alonso, since, getting this contract with the Mets and, being assured that he's going to be staying here for a little bit, he has just totally upped his game and has become, still hitting home runs and driving in runs, but he's become so much more of a complete player, it seems like. And here's some stats that prove that. Now, still, in the last, this is over the last 15 games here, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and an 1146 OPS. Batting average, 362. So it's not like he's just hitting home runs here and, striking out. A 362 batting average, which is excellent. He overall is tied for second in the majors with 33 RBIs. Aaron Judge also has 33. At this point now, Teoscar Hernandez is the major league leader in RBIs with 34. But Pete Alonso definitely taking advantages to drive in runs when he gets those opportunities. Now, speaking of driving in runs, Brandon Nimmo has all of a sudden woken up. In the last 11 games, 13 RBIs for Brandon Nimmo and also 3 home runs over that time. Juan Soto, again, quietly doing his thing. 2 solo home runs only in the last 15 days here, but still an 880 OPS. So getting on base, getting some extra base hits there. Nothing to complain about there. And he's only going to get better. Mark Vientos, a couple of home runs and 9 RBIs in the last 15 games. So good offensive stats. And I mentioned, Jeff McNeil and Alvarez contributing in their return so far in the 8 games that they've been back. As far as the pitching side of things, Griffin Canning had 3 starts in the last couple of weeks and was credited for the win in all 3 games. 15 innings pitched over that time. Now, he did give up 17 hits, but only 2 earned runs in those 15 innings and 16 strikeouts in the 15 innings. So definitely getting it done. And again, the Mets winning the games that he's pitching. Again, a lot of kind of okay stats here, but getting the job done. And these starters, just kind of holding down the fort until maybe some depth gets back. Tyler McGill is a typical example of that. 2 starts, 11 1/3 innings pitched with a whip under 1, 7 hits in that time, and 15 strikeouts. He did somehow give up 7 earned runs, but again, 15 strikeouts and 11 innings pitched in that time. Oscar Brazoban actually got what do you call it when the relief pitcher starts the game? Not the starter. I'm blanking right now when it's a relief game. Do you know the word I'm looking for there? I don't know. But Brazoban, who's a relief pitcher, actually started a game against Arizona, I believe, or maybe St. Louis. I don't know. I was watching this game here. and couldn't believe that Brazoban actually started. But he pitched 7 games over the last 15 days here. 8 and a third innings pitched, 5 hits, only 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts, a .96 whip. Continues to be Mr. Dependable in the Mets bullpen, and now even starting a game here. Clay Holmes continues to pitch well for the Mets. 2 starts, 2 wins, 11 innings pitched. Did give up 12 hits, but again, the runs aren't scoring, only 3 earned runs during that time. Other guys in the relief corps, Edwin Diaz had a couple of saves throughout the week. Now, they certainly need him to be making saves because they had Ryan Stanek come in for a few games here. He blew 3 saves and got the loss in all 3 games. So hopefully somebody else can step up besides Edwin Diaz here, but at least Edwin Diaz pitching well, getting a couple of saves. But like I said, they're going to have some other guys step up that if they need them in a save situation, they can do that. Stanek, unfortunately, hasn't proven that he can handle that. So what's coming up for the Mets now for the next week here? You got tonight and tomorrow in Arizona. A tough team there, and Arizona playing well at home too, although the Mets did beat them last night. Still a couple of more games tonight and tomorrow there. Now, the Mets will come back home after that with a 6-game homestand. By the way, the Mets are 13-3 overall at Citi Field. And I think I said it the last time we were on. I cannot remember them playing this confidently at Citi Field since the 2015 World Series year. And even with that, the last time I remember the Mets playing this confidently at home was back in the 80s when they were a championship team there at Shea Stadium. So again, playing extremely well, 13-3 at home, and they have 6 games there. Now, this weekend playing the Cubs. The Cubs playing excellent baseball, scoring runs in bunches. I think by far the top team as far as runs scored in Major League Baseball. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, a 3-game series against the Pirates, all night games there. Pirates struggling. So if the Mets could take 4 out of 6 in this homestand, I think that would be excellent. Or even if they could take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, maybe sweep the Pirates and take 5. But we won't get greedy. We'll just say 4 out of 6 in the homestand. That would be perfectly fine. So let me send it back to you, and you can give some player and team updates for the Yankees there.
Absolutely. And this is a big one, Joe. The Yankees finally, and I mean finally, removed Devin Williams as the closer. What took them so long?
Right.
Friday, April 25th, 2025, a day that will live in Yankees infamy, especially for one Devin Williams. Williams' sporadic start as the Yankees closer came to a crashing end faster than the Berlin Wall collapsing, forming a united Germany. I don't know where I pulled that out of my head. I just come up with these things.
I like it.
Anyway.
Great example.
Mm-hmm. But Aaron Boone should have done this sooner. Boone is a good manager, but he has this tendency to handcuff himself to struggling players to try to fix them. But sometimes Boone needs to pretend that he's in a Frozen musical and just let it go, let it go. Can't hold them down anymore. But finally, the well-liked bench boss calmly put his foot down and demoted Williams to setup man. Mm-hmm. In return, Luke Weaver, Dream Weaver, has been the closer, which he should have been to begin with, and has been performing tremendously other than last night. But Devin Williams didn't set up. He set up Weaver to fail. So anyway, Williams had some good outings, but they felt like they were more like charity outings. So, Joe, are we going to see Dream Weaver become more of a reality the rest of the year?
It looks that way. It's you can only give players so many chances, and I understand how Boone doesn't want to break the confidence and wants to support the player, but there comes a time where you got to make a decision that's for the best of the team, not so much for the best of the player. So we shall see if Gary Wright or the Dreamweaver there, continues to do well and can take over there in that spot for the Yankees, and maybe Devin Williams gets his confidence back and eventually gets back in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, guess what? Jazz Chisholm placed on the IL, and second base prospect Jorge Vivas called up from Scranton. Could Vivas take advantage of Chisholm's long absence? Viva la Vivas. They actually play that when Vivas steps up to the plate. They play Viva la Vida by Coldplay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, Chisholm Jr. set out last Wednesday night's contest with an oblique injury. The oblique strain was shown on imagery, and updates later confirmed the passionate yet vocal second baseman would be out 4 to 6 weeks. The Yankees called up second baseman Jorge Vivas from Scranton and finally made his major league debut last Friday night. Vivas is a solid switch hitting prospect with speed and good plate discipline. The Yankees need more switch hitters as most of their lineup is all lefties. Plus, Vivas will have a long time to showcase his talents at the big level. Vivas was called up multiple times last year, but never actually played in a game. So, Joe, what a chance for Vivas to make his debut for the New York Yankees. How can he contribute in a way that Chisholm wasn't able to with his oblique strain? Because the one thing about Jazz is he hasn't been batting well, but he plays great defense.
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with him. I'll be honest with you, but I mean, if we're going to throw Coldplay references in here, I mean, I think it seems like sometimes things go at the speed of sound, and he's going to be a good fill-in while they fix him, meaning Chisholm. So again, I got to throw my Coldplay references in there for the Vida La Viva there or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, I'm not very familiar with him, but and you said he's very good defensively too.
No, I said Chisholm was, even though he hasn't been batting that well. But Vivas might be a better batter, but he is good defensively.
Okay,
and I think his play discipline's what's the best.
But here's what I really think, and what I believe firmly is that they can't rush Jazz Chisholm back too soon, because that's the type of injury that, if you rush back too soon, you aggravate it, and then there's another few weeks that you're off, and you just kind of mess things up going forward. So, make sure he gets the time he needs to recover. Excuse me, and hopefully his fill-ins there could kind of make it possible to do that, so they don't have to rush Chisholm back. You have to be careful with an injury like that, and just definitely give him the time it takes to heal so he can come back 100% and contribute like we know Jazz Chisholm can.
Mm-hmm. And anyway, moving on, we have some accolades to talk about. Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso, they popped the ball up their way to Player of the Month honors. I knew you would like that reference.
Oh, for sure.
AL Player of the Month is none other than Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. Judge earned this honor for specific reasons: hitting for home runs and hitting for average and having better plate discipline every year. That improved metric has him hitting .427 and a 1282 OPS, which is unheard of for nowadays.
Right.
Judge also was tops in the MLB with 50 hits and 89 stolen bases. Judge was hot at the end of April, hitting .500 in his final 50 plate appearances. And, of course, the NL Player of the Month, Pete Alonso of your New York Mets, Joe. Much like Judge, Alonso has been more of a complete hitter. He's number one in the NL with a .475 on-base percentage, with a .342 batting average and 1124 OPS, second behind Judge.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe, what do you think of Judge and Alonso earning AL and NL Players of the Month?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that when I was going over my Mets information here. Just well deserved on both ends. I mean, it's just crazy to me that Aaron Judge, as amazing of a player that he's been over these last few years, just keeps getting better. And again, this is an award that's well deserved. And the cool thing with these guys, again, as I mentioned when I was talking about Alonso earlier, it's not like these are 220 hitters and they're all or nothing guys. It's not like they're striking out twice a day and then just gets the home run, and hits it 450 feet. These guys are playing complete baseball. They're getting a lot of home runs and RBIs. And again, both of them have 33 RBIs for the season. But they're getting these RBIs, not just bashing the ball. Sometimes, yes, but just great situational hitting. It seems like every time I'm watching Pete Alonso, who obviously I see quite a bit more than I see Aaron Judge, they need a hit and he gets it done, either with a double or a home run or even a sacrifice fly or a ground ball to the right side of the infield. He just has really learned how to get guys in, no matter what. It doesn't have to be a home run. And when Pete Alonso is going well, and I'm sure it's the same with Aaron Judge, when he's hitting it the opposite way. You don't know how many times I've seen him hit like a right center field double, or even some of his home runs going to right center field. Judge does the same thing. And especially, Yankee Stadium, because you hit it to right. All you got to do is what?
Pop it up.
There you go. But he has a tendency to do that. He's not just pulling everything to left field all the time. So these guys are just, complete hitters and just doing whatever it takes to get runs in. And this award for both of them is definitely well deserved.
Yep. Well, so Paul Goldschmidt looks great when paired next to Aaron Judge. You don't say, huh? Anywho, we all know there's a high bar when Aaron Judge steps up to bat for the Yankees. But guys like Paul Goldschmidt, who are hitting 361, are seen as underlooked. So is this what Kenny Lofton keeps warning us about?
Right.
Anyway, we have a quote here from Goldie. It's a long season. I'd love to get a hit every time, Goldschmidt said. I'd love to hit as high an average, as many homers, as many wins as we can. We know there's going to be ups and downs. So I think for me, a big part is really not just paying any attention to it. It's showing up and trying to put the work in to be prepared to help us win every day. So, Joe, at 37 years of age, can you believe he's still batting this way for the Yankees? And he's only on a one-year deal. But now, because he's on a one-year deal, there's rumors that they might trade him at the trade deadline when he's hot to try to get more pitching help. What do you think of that?
Yeah, because not too long ago, I mean, a few years back, he was like an MVP candidate. I don't think he won it, or I don't know if he did, but he was up there and, one of the best players in baseball. And then the last couple of years just kind of seemed to tail down, and you thought, okay, has he reached the end of the road? But obviously proving that that's not the case with the Yankees this year. So it's good to see, because he's a great guy. He's been a great player in the league for many years. And it certainly will be a decision for the Yankees. Maybe something that they should think about doing, even though, again, he's making contributions. Like you said, do it while he's hot. Do it while you can definitely get a better return. They'd hate to do that. I mean, I'm sure he'd be a valuable player down the road as they get closer to the postseason. But certainly an interesting thing to think about. And once the trade deadline gets closer, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. When you sign these guys to a one-year deal like that, and you got more flexibility in your lineup to build your lineup of what you want to do. So, And anyway, guess what, Joe? It is now that time in our show for a question of the week segment. So would you like to give it a try?
I certainly would.
Okay, Joe, here's your question. Can you guess this MLB player? He was a 7-time All-Star. It was the 2014 AL home run leader. Is it Nelson Cruz, Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Manny Machado?
What year was this?
2014.
All right, and I'm going to ask you to repeat. If you could just repeat the question and the people.
So can you guess this MLB player? He was a 7-time All-Star and was the AL home run leader in 2014.
2014. Okay.
Is it A, Nelson Cruz, B, Adam Jones? Who? Adam Jones. Who? C, Chris Davis, or D, Manny Machado?
Ooh, tough question. I don't think it was Jones. I think that was a little after his time. But I am going to say, not just because I was on a cruise last week, but I'm going to go with Nelson Cruz.
You got it. It was Nelson Cruz. He had 40 home runs that year.
And I thought, thank you. I thought that was his prime time, I guess we could say. Now, Jamie, I got some questions for you here. Again, my friend Tom likes to provide some information for us. So he very much appreciates your baseball knowledge here. And these questions are a little more straightforward here. I'll ask you two. He sent me a whole bunch. So I'm going to ask you a couple today, and I'll save some for future weeks here. But let's see if you can get this one. Now, it's a Yankees question. And he wants to know, which Yankee team blasted out the most home runs in a season? And he gave us 5 options here: 2001, 2009, 1961, 1955, or 1927.
Which Yankee team blasted the most home runs?
The most home runs in a season. Which season?
What are my choices again?
2001, 2009, 1961, 1955, 1927.
I think is it 2009?
Okay. Good guess. That's when they won the World Series, right?
Yeah.
But it is actually 1961.
Oh, because of Roger Maris, yeah.
Maris and some other guy. Do you know who the other home runner is?
Mickey Mantle, yep.
Yeah, there you go. And he said that even though the 27 team was famous for like Ruth and Gehrig, because I might have been inclined to guess that, Mantle and Maris did their own damage with others in 61. All right. Again, this let me go to this other one. All right. This is a little more recent. Which of the following Yankees won a batting title in 1994? Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Jorge Posada, Tito Martinez. 1994.
Who won a batting title in 1994 with the Yankees? That was the strike year.
Yes. So, yeah, the season ended a little early. But we got
Jeter wasn't even on the team then, so it's not Jeter. He didn't make his debut until 95. Then he got called down, and 96 was his first full year.
Right. So
Posada was not on the team then.
Mm-hmm. So you got O'Neill or Tito Martinez?
Was it let's see, I'm gonna say Tino Martinez.
All right, 50-50 chance. It was actually Paul O'Neill.
Oh.
A 359 batting average in 1994. The season that tragically ended. When did the season end? Like mid-August or something, or late August, something like that. So, but all the stats count, and McNeil was the batting champ that year as a member of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tom, we appreciate the questions.
Thank you, Tom.
And again, I got some more here, but like I said, I'll save those for future weeks, and we'll try again.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's see. Double A Yankees catcher Jesus Rodriguez promoted to Triple-A Scranton from Double-A Somerset. The catcher's played in 15 games in Triple-A and has gotten on base safely in all 15. The catcher's batting .377 with a .976 OPS, including being 4 for 4 on stolen bases. Rodriguez has recorded 1 hit in 12 of 15 AAA games. Over the previous 7 contests, he's batting 14-28 with 3 3-hit games. He recorded his first AAA hit with an RBI single against the Red Wings, Clay Holvey, in the 5th inning of a second game of an April 13th doubleheader, leading to a Rail Riders 8-0 win. Because, oh, no, that's how Rail Riders roll. Defensively, he has also thrown out 4 of 8 would-be base stealers.
Wow.
This season, Rodriguez started at Somerset and batted a mere 107 with 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, and 2 walks in 7 games before being promoted to the Rail Riders. Everybody, we have a quote here from Rodriguez. Everybody here has a lot of big league experience, so I'm trying to learn from everybody, Rodriguez said. I knew some of the guys from spring training since I got here. I'm just trying to do my best to help the team. We haven't always got the wins we wanted, but I'm happy with the teamwork. Last season, he played 56 games at Hudson Valley and 23 games at Double-A Somerset and batted .302 with 15 doubles, 4 triples, 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, and 33 walks. So, Joe, what do you think of another Yankees catching prospect making it one step closer to the big show, even though they already have Austin Wells in the majors? But what do you think of this guy getting promoted up to AAA, Jesus Rodriguez?
Yeah, you can never have enough catching, I believe. And it's just good to see him take those necessary steps. Now, is he... I don't know if you would have an answer on this. Is he like on the Yankees prospect list? Is he like ranked? Do you know what his ranking is as far as Yankee prospects?
I think he's like top 15 or top 20.
Okay. But still, you're saying he's already in AAA.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty awesome. And you know, again, I always think you can't have enough catching depth, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Wells is doing very well. No pun intended there.
And JC Escara's not doing well considering. I mean, JC Escara's not doing bad either, though, considering he started out as an Uber driver and made the team this year.
Right. You know, I said it, I think, on a previous show. You know, the Kurt Warner of the team, right? You know, the guy who worked at the Hy-Vee supermarket. So, you know, now the Yankees got an Uber driver trying to, you know, get him to a World Series here. But,
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see, you know, how it goes there. You know, again, but like I keep repeating myself, but you can't have enough catching depth.
That's true. And but guess what? Now we got to talk about the new Yankees #1 prospect, since Jason Dominguez has graduated from being a prospect. George Lombard Jr., yes, the top prospect of the Yankees, promoted to Double-A Somerset. Why? It's finally happening. George Lombard Jr. is climbing up the Yankees farm system, folks. The 19-year-old #1 prospect of the Yankees is transferring up from High A Hudson Valley to Double-A Somerset. Lombard, in 24 games in Hudson Valley, batted .327 with a .983 OPS, including 27 hits in 85 at-bats. While most of his defense is at shortstop, he saw action at second base, third base, and shortstop during spring training with the Yankees. He also scored 22 runs with 8 doubles, a triple, and a home run with 13 RBIs, stealing 11 bases. While MLB Pipeline projects Lombard to make his MLB debut in 2027. A quick promotion in AA may speed it up to 2026. And who knows, Joe, I'm going to be going to the Red Wings Scranton game with my family in July. Maybe he'll be promoted up to AAA by then with Spencer Jones. Who knows? But anyway, Lombard Jr. was drafted in the first round of the 2023 draft by the Yankees and is the son of former MLB outfielder and Tigers bench coach George Lombard Sr. His AA opening act may open up the curtains this Tuesday when the protagonist Somerset Patriots take on the antagonist Akron Rubber Ducks. Yes, the Cleveland Guardians AA team is the Rubber Ducks, and I guess Bern and Ernie come up on the screen and sing Rubber Ducky every time they hit a home run, I guess there, right?
That's hilarious.
Joe, maybe it does say 2026. Well, but what do you think of his chances of maybe being called up this year, even though Anthony Volpe's back? And guess what? There's some people who say that they said in the organization, they said they remind him of a young Alex Rodriguez. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's, a high comparison there. I'm not so sure he comes up this year just because, again, the Yankees have so much depth and they're definitely going to be in the pennant race all throughout. That's not to say that he, if he excels in the minor leagues and, gets promoted to AAA and, and just lights it up there, it's possible. I think if the Yankees were a developing team and iffy as far as playoffs were concerned, I think maybe he would get a shot then. But they're going to be fighting for first place. They're going to be, fighting for, for playoffs and World Series and that kind of thing. So I'm not quite sure. I think unless he really tears the leather off the ball in the minor leagues, I'm not so sure he'll get with the Yankees this year. Again, I don't want to take any optimism away in case people are, looking for that to happen. But, you had mentioned originally 2027, based on what you're saying here and based on the trajectory and what he's doing so far, I think it's going to be before that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happened in 2026.
Yeah, because, they love this kid. They rave about him. He plays all 3 positions, which is that's what's even more valuable than hitting these young kids, being able now to come in and play more than one position defensively, which is cool. But they said he can, when he was at high A and AA, his exit velocity reached 113 miles an hour off the bat, and he's 19 years old coming out of high school, and he hasn't even reached AAA or the MLB to have an exit velocity that high. And in high school, his exit velocity was 97.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't usually happen in high school. And you said he's the number 1 prospect?
Yeah.
For the Yankees? Okay.
And he was going to commit to Vanderbilt, but he chose to play pro ball right out of high school. And remember, Jeter and A-Rod did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Usually, I like to start tracking these high prospects for teams and stuff, and haven't had a chance to look too much this year just because there's been a lot going on. But as we get into summer and stuff and there's a little more time, I like to watch these prospects and see how they progress. So this is one that I'm certainly going to be watching.
Now, I actually think even though, Joe, my opinion, even though the Yankees are still going to be competing for a World Series, you also got to remember they're able now to call up a lot of their prospects because remember they shedded all that salary with Juan Soto. If they paid Juan Soto that money, they wouldn't be able to do this. So
right. What was that team that was suckered enough to get Juan Soto? No, I'm just kidding. But but you're right though. They just lost a lot of salary off the payroll there. So you are correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, speaking of the Yankees, they lost to the Rays 7-5, but 2 Yankees hit for milestones. It was a bittersweet, wet Sunday afternoon in the Bronx. With the New York Yankees trailing 5-0, Cody Bellinger drilled a 2-run homer to cut the Rays lead to 5-2. The home run was Belly's 200th career home run. And we have a quote here. I think that is definitely pretty cool, said Bellinger. You never know as a kid what you can do. So I just got to keep going. So, Joe, what do you think of Belly hitting his milestone home run on the Yankees, a team that he watched his father as a kid play for and win a world championship with? And now years later, he got to hit a home run for that same team.
Yeah, great story. He's been a solid player for several years here. And, to get that done here with the Yankees and, contribute to the Yankees, I think that's pretty cool.
I couldn't agree more. Anyway, do we finally have a Garrett Cole sighting on the Yankees bench? Even when Cole is physically not on the mound pitching and striking out guys, mentally he's thinking about helping the Yankees win the World Series this year. No, I'm not kidding, because listen to this, Joe. Every night before a long night's rest, the Yankees ace goes through mental exercises describing how he would face hitters. When asked about how it's going, Cole playfully grinned, I haven't given up any hits recently. Well, that's a good way of looking at things. He won't have until 2026 to physically do it on the mound. Cole is continuing to recover from Tommy John surgery back in March. And we got a quote. I hope it comes back like a fresh new set of tires, Cole said. That's the best hope. Just a pit stop that took a little longer than we had hoped for. The first few weeks are important. It's a long process, and it's not super enjoyable, but you've got to not rush it and be where you are in the process. It gets better and better as it goes along, but it takes a while. Cole returned to the Yankees dugout on Sunday, and while he's not out there pitching, his presence there could give the current Yankees starting rotation and bullpen some guidance moving forward. And we have a quote from the manager. He's got a wealth of experience and he's had a ton of success, but he's also had moments of truth and struggles and adversity too, manager Aaron Boone said. He's got a lot to share and he likes sharing it, but he's also smart about the craft. He's able to absorb the information that's available now and shares that with the other guys. Not capable of lifting his arm after a March 6th spring training outline, Cole's worst nightmare came to fruition, affirmed by a series of MRIs. He had Tommy John surgery on March 11th, which included the insertion of an internal brace. According to Cole, he's counting on a 14-month recovery period. He said he felt thankful his original equipment stayed put for more than 1,950 innings in 12 major league seasons with the Pirates, Astros, and now Yankees. Quote, I defeated the odds for so long, Cole said. It did catch up to me, but I feel good about getting everything out of it up to this point. Hopefully a lot of the things that helped me fight it off for so long will help me get on back end here. I still think those are good habits and good for sustainability. In the weeks after that, Cole has been blessed to have extra time to take care of his family. Things like taking his son Caden to school and also to Little League games where Caden is on Carlos Rodon's son Bo's team. So how do you think about that? What do you think of that, Joe? So I've been able to help be dad a lot more, Cole said. That's been really helpful to keep my spirits up, and they've certainly enjoyed it. It's been an opportunity that I've never really thought I would have during the summer or spring at any point. The aspect of it has been nice, but I miss playing. I miss competing. Mm-hmm. So, Joe, what do you think of Cole taking care of everything from his Yankee family to even his own family while still in recovery?
Yeah, I love this whole situation here, and it's a great attitude, and I really appreciate players who, maybe can't contribute on the field, but try to find ways to contribute to the team any possible way they can. And having this guy on the bench and having this guy, like you said, his presence in it on its own is, I think, inspiring. And just, you think this guy knows a little bit about pitching, right? You think he's got some great ideas to contribute to this team. So, and if you're a young pitcher, wouldn't you want to listen to what this guy has to say? So I definitely, appreciate what he's doing. And I think it just adds so much. And it kind of reminds me a little bit about, Max Scherzer. He wasn't on the Mets for very long, and they didn't get the best version of Scherzer. But I noticed he did that all the time. He was always there with young pitchers, and it seemed like, and my father even said this too, that it seemed like the guys flocked around him. It's like they wanted to hear what he had to say. They wanted to learn from one of the best here. And I think it's the same with the Yankees here, that, he's going to be that guy. You're going to watch games and see these young pitchers like flocking around Garrett Cole. Again, I think they're going to learn from him, and he's got a lot to share. And I just love the fact that he wants to be a part of the team. He wants to contribute to the team. Yes, again, he's not contributing on the mound physically, but his presence and his expertise, like you said, I think can make very valuable contributions to that team.
Mm-hmm. So, and guess what? This was a two-part question, Joe. So also, how cool is it that both Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon are MLB teammates, and their sons, Caden and Bo, are Little League teammates?
Yeah, you don't hear about that happening too often, right? And, in fact, in a big area like this too, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
And two pitchers that have been around for a while too, and that it just so happens to happen there in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, it looks like we come to the end of our show. So, Joe, where can we find you on social media on Tuesday, May 6th? 2025. Can you believe it's already the first Tuesday of May?
El 6 de Mayo, right? Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. 6 de Mayo today. And I also can't believe that we are basically, I think by this weekend, 1/4 of the way through this Major League Baseball season. Can you believe that? I can't. But anyway, you can find me putting my 2 cents in on Twitter X. Joe Dell Sports is my handle there.
Yep. And then you can follow me, yours truly, at Bill's Channel 1, at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dogtez on X, theforkball.com, and stadiumrant.com, where I write about all sports. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Driving to the Top Productions. Like, comment, ring the bell for notifications. And for more content like this show on Driving to the Top Productions, and also our open mic show, which is going to be on at 9:00 p.m. and the guys UFL show, which includes me on it. Please visit our YouTube page, check out our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X stream, wherever you consume your podcasts. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to you tuning back in with us next Tuesday at 8:00 p.m. on the Subway Conversation Chat. Get your New York sports here. Subway Conversation Chat with Jamie and Joe. Have a good night, folks.
Have a great week, everybody.